Welcome to Epic Explore World. A man bought an abandoned building which he's going to be turning into a dream home and YouTube studio. He paid $415,000 for this 7,000-foot Chicago building, and when he took possession, there was trash strewn everywhere. The roof was full of holes. The water leaking through the roof had caused mold everywhere and rotted out all the old flooring. And whoever had been using it previously had made some interesting design decisions. What does every bathroom need but dual-facing toilets? Despite the dilapidated state, I could see great bones in the building, with the exposed brick walls, timber ceilings, and steel staircase. The plan was to convert the downstairs of this two-story building into his workshop and garage, and build out his dream home upstairs. It will have 3 bedrooms and a YouTube studio in the back half, and an open-concept living, dining, and kitchen space in the front half. When he started the renovation work, he had no idea the process would take up 5 years of his life. The first step, before they could even start the demo, was just to remove all the trash from the building.
This building is huge, and they have to go room by room, demo, until they finish the whole building. Oh, okay. Get all this stuff from the second floor out. What they're gonna do is knock out this window. It has to go anyway. Basically got the trash bin right below the window, so that when he smash it, all the glass is just gonna go right into that bin. Now they got easy access to just throw everything right out the window and right into the dumpsters. Dude, did that just go in the dumpster? At this point, there was still a ton of demo work to do, but he got a call from the roofers saying they had an opening in their schedule and could get the new roof in immediately. Because of COVID, contractors were in short supply, so he paused the demo to get the roof installed when he could. All right, the guys are hard at work demolishing the makeshift skylight that the previous owner put up. That thing is not up to code, not big enough. And we'll talk later about the code requirements, but right now, let's get back to the roofing. So he talks really quickly about a question he's guessing that he's gonna get, which is, why are you hiring roofers? He's gonna be using a kind of hybrid approach for this building where he hire out things that he don't have an experience in, things that are sort of key and essential to the building functioning properly, like the roof, and then doing other things where he do have the experience, or where he think time is more valuable being spent, so that we can get this up quickly. Because right now he's carrying 2 mortgages, so he can't spend 3 years doing this. So for the roof in particular, it's just one of those things, if you don't do it right, it just keeps getting worse. You try to put a Band-Aid on it, and just the wound keeps getting bigger. And also, when you hire people, you get a warranty. Warranty is kind of a huge thing when you get a new roof. Now that we've patched up all the holes, they're laying down an insulation layer here, and on top of that insulation, they've got this self-adhering base layer. Last sheet of membrane is going in. So we got the architect's plans here, and she marked out where the skylights are. That was good until he installed one of the skylights himself. Then time to address the question that he got asked literally hundreds of times in the first video. How are you planning to do bedrooms without skylights? Is that illegal? I thought you had to have windows for egress. That may be the case in some parts of the country where you need to be able to exit through a window for fire code purposes. But in Chicago, we've got lots of high-rise buildings and lots of buildings like this one where it just isn't possible to have windows that open to the outside. So we're doing skylights as far as egress and exit goes. We have to have 2 staircases on this floor. In a nutshell, by having these 2 stairways exiting to the outside from this floor, we're going to be able to meet fire code here. This is one of the guest bedrooms. Guest bedroom number 2. And then we got 2 skylights over here for the master bedroom. We got a real close call. Yeah, a little hole in the sock, but no burns. Aluminum non-fiber coating. Aluminum non-fiber coating is a protective coating made with aluminum pigments, but without reinforcing fibers. It is mainly used to protect metal, roofs, tanks, pipes, and industrial surfaces from heat, corrosion, sunlight, and moisture. Good example here, as you can see, they're using it in roofing. So moving on into the living area here, this area, which is going to be the kitchen, is one of the things we haven't demoed yet. That's to come. We're going to knock all this down, and that'll be the open kitchen in there. On into the living room. We really haven't done anything in there because he loved the brick walls. Today is Friday, and he is rolling solo today working. Just gonna take it kind of easy, rip up a little bit of the subfloor. My first time ever kind of doing any of this subfloor sort of structural flooring stuff. Seems like it's pretty simple. He watched some YouTube videos, so that makes him an expert, right? We'll find out. Let's try. This is going to be a little more work than he anticipated. The layers are delaminating and splintering, Each board is like pulling up like 3 or 4 boards instead of one. All right, we'll just have to roll with it and get it done. They're gonna knock down those big old stairs. He got someone coming to help to do that because, yeah, that's so hard to operate alone. So they're taking this bad boy apart. They're gonna work from the top down. Gravity falls down, and so does pieces of steel, and they don't want to get bumped in the head. All right, they're stair cutting. They got sparks flying behind. They got to make a cut all the way across the landing on the stairs. It's a welded-on cut. There's going to be tons of sparks flying. And yet, there is a risk of fire. So because of that, we got a fire extinguisher. So next step is that they're going to cut the stairs out. You can see them cutting them out. And after they cut the stairs out, then next they're going to cut the stringers out. So that they came down pretty easily and safely with the strap tied to it. And again, it's bad that he kind of wanted up first. First thing is to fill in that hole in the floor they created when they removed the staircase. Now this is something where the architect has specified a bunch of structural requirements. He don't want to get in trouble when the inspector comes, so he hired out this part. He got guys coming to fill that in, and before they get there, he got to do a little bit more demo to tear down the ceiling and clear out the sides of that opening. Needed to demo first floor ceiling so we could add plumbing for bathrooms above. He's going to be doing all the framing and stuff. Yes, as you can see, we're going to start framing this opening right now is where the staircase used to be. We're going to do an infill with joists at 2x12 and 2x10s for a new platform, and it's where the new bathroom is going to be for the second floor. So stay tuned. So behind me is where we built in the floor to fill the hole where that third staircase used to be. After looking at it, they decided that they wanted to change the layout a little bit. The stairs were going to come out of the door and into the main living area, but they decided to set the stairs starting with first step inside the door and actually going back up in there. I couldn't get to the very edges here with reciprocating saw, circular saw. I'm going to have to come back with a hand axe, which I don't have here right now, so we're probably putting this on pause.
And now it's time for the rooms to take shape.
They have to first build a wall to hide electrical wires, gas, and plumbing. Soffit to hide ducts, and an opening to expose brick as a backsplash. Half wall hides plumbing to sink and dishwasher. Plumbing for sink, this is going to be the inlet to the sink train. That is pretty. Look at that beautiful copper piping. So you might have noticed something else earlier as I was running around the building. There are now stairs between the living room in front of me and the bedroom area behind me, which is raised up by about 3 feet. He builds temporary stairs to connect the lower floor to the upper floor. The framing crew just finished everything upstairs, and now they're about to start framing out the wall that's going to separate the first floor workshop from the entry hallway that's going to lead you upstairs to the living room. HVAC installation means installing a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system in a building to control temperature, airflow, and indoor air quality. Snow, fire, wind. What happens during HVAC installation? 1. System planning and load calculation. Technicians calculate the heating and cooling needs of the building to choose the correct system size. If the unit is too big or too small, it wastes energy and performs poorly. 2. Installing the main equipment. Common equipment installed includes air conditioner, cools the air in hot weather, furnace, provides heat in cold weather, heat pump can both heat and cool a home, air handler, circulates air through the system.
Big boy.
This little thing has been heating the whole building, actually doing a surprisingly good job of it, but now they're installing the big void. So he made sure the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC all now done before insulation of walls. He used rock wool insulation. He just installed rock wool installation in the exterior walls, and the original plan was to use rock wool on the walls, fiberglass in the ceilings, and did it all himself. But when I got about halfway through the rock wool installation, it was brought to my attention that using fiberglass in the ceiling would lead to major issues because there was no room for an air gap between the insulation and the flat roof. So he left the rock wool he had installed in place, but changed plans and called in the pros to spray insulation in the rest of the building.
Spray insulation is a type of insulation that is sprayed onto walls, ceilings, or floors as a liquid and then expands into foam, filling gaps and sealing air leaks. It is commonly used in homes and buildings to improve energy efficiency and temperature control. The most common product is spray polyurethane foam, or SPF. It expands after spraying and creates a solid foam barrier that insulates and seals air leaks.
The insulation done, there's still a few more details that he had to take care of before he closed up the walls with drywall. First, he added supports for double barn doors that are going to lead into the master bathroom and for barn doors in the master bedroom closets. Since he planned to do some pretty beefy barn doors, he used 2x12s for the headers between the metal studs. Moving over to the guest bathroom, he'd already fabricated a pyramid concrete sink that weighed about 200 pounds. He planned for a floating install. He needed steel supports anchored to the walls. He welded the supports out of 1-inch tube and installed them directly to the brick wall with some beefy Tapcon screws and concrete epoxy. Number 3 is running data or audio-video cables through the walls so that they're hidden and you don't have cords running everywhere. Having Ethernet to run between a server and modem that's down in the workshop, up to the studio, bedrooms, living room, and even up to the roof was a priority. But really, if you wanted HDMI cables or anything like that for audio-video, you could use the same technique as this. And lastly, soundproofing in your interior walls. Shameless plug here, he actually showed how to do that with rock wool, which is a type of mineral wool insulation in the master bedroom here. It's actually the same stuff that he used in the exterior walls there. So that wraps it up. It's been a whirlwind just going down the checklist of all the different stuff I'm trying to finish up before the drywallers get here. He's super excited. They're going to start seeing these rooms look a lot more like rooms. We're putting drywall on the ceiling first because you always work top down when you're installing drywall. That avoids mucking up the drywall you've already installed as you install in more. He is using waterproof blue board for his bathroom. Waterproof blue boards usually refer to rigid foam construction boards used in wet areas like bathrooms, showers, basements, and foundations. Durock shower refers to a shower built using cement backer boards that provide a strong, water-resistant base for tile installation. Now for the kitchen. Installing boards on walls. Cutting notches for the niches to give a proper fit. He is leaving this brick window as a backsplash to keep with the industrial look. Coat closet. A coat closet is a small storage closet near the entrance of a house used to keep coats, jackets, shoes, umbrellas, and other outdoor items. Now it's time for drywall mudding. Drywall mudding is the process of finishing drywall panels so the wall becomes smooth and ready for paint. It involves applying joint compound called mud over seams, screws, and joints. Workers apply the compound to seams between drywall panels, screw or nail holes, corners, and edges. They usually use tools like a drywall taping knife to spread the mud smoothly. Time to let the pros finish mudding. Everyone's favorite, sanding. Sanding the drywall. After the mud dries, workers sand the surface using a drywall sanding sponge or sanding pole. So today we're going to see a pretty big transformation that I'm excited about. The masonry guys are here to knock out a hole in the brick wall in the back so that we can add a big 8-foot by 5-foot window. So let me just try and explain quickly what these guys are doing over there with all the jackhammering. Basically, they start with a big old masonry saw, which is just a scary, scary piece of machinery. They take that and they cut out the grout on the top and the bottom of a row of bricks. Then they're going to take a power hammer, which is basically a miniature jackhammer in the form factor of a big power drill. And they use that to chisel out the mortar in between the bricks so they can remove individual bricks and keep them intact. Bricks on sides are removed carefully to leave a finger joint pattern. Next, limestone blocks were cut to finish the windowsill. So since the windows are custom and take 6 weeks to deliver, he is making a temporary window out of plywood and plexiglass. Overkill caulking job. Adding weather stripping. They'll come back to this. Now it's time to spray paint the entire house. First, they suit up, safety first. Painting brand new drywall isn't quite as simple as just priming and painting. You have a lot of dust from the joint compound that sticks to the drywall because it's static. You have to figure out how to address that dust in order to get a nice finish on your drywall. What they're going to be doing is a process called back rolling. He's going to spray the paint on, get a nice even coat. Bob's going to come behind me with a roller and roll the primer into the wall, and that helps get the primer into the pores of the drywall and helps it really adhere to it, and also knocks down some fibers of the drywall paper that sometimes get raised, so you get a nice even surface on the drywall when you're done. They have 2 top colors, and they have to only choose one to paint, were chenille lace and simply white. Simply white is definitely a bit on the warmer side. Chenille lace was very cool and vivid. I personally tend to gravitate more towards cool white, and he just loved how bright and crisp the chenille lace was, so that's what they're going to go with. On to the painting. Their goal is to get this whole place painted in one day. Waterproofing. Step 1. The membrane.
A waterproof membrane is a layer placed under the tile to stop water from reaching the wall or floor structure. A common product used is RedGuard waterproofing and crack prevention membrane. Purpose: prevents water damage, protects walls and floors, helps stop mold and mildew, adds crack protection.
Waterproofing. Step 2. The shower curb. Waterproofing. Step 3. Sealing the seams.
Seams are the joints between backerboards or tile underlayment panels. To make them waterproof and strong, installers use alkali-resistant fiberglass mesh tape, thin-set mortar, or waterproof sealant.
Waterproofing. Step 4. Tile underlayment.
Tile underlayment is the base layer installed under tile to provide support and stability. A popular option is Durox cement board. Purpose: supports tile weight, prevents tile cracking, resists moisture, creates a flat surface.
Cutting aluminum channel for niche is a step in tile installation where aluminum trim pieces are cut to frame and protect the edges of a shower niche or wall niche. These trims give the niche a clean, modern look and protect tile edges from damage. What an aluminum channel for a niche is. An aluminum channel is a thin metal trim used around the edges of tiles, cutting a notch to fit around the niche. Okay. One other question he's guessing he will get is, why are you doing a different tile on the shower floor than the walls? It is very challenging to install big tiles like this onto a surface that's sloping towards the drain. Mosaic tiles flex over the curves of the shower floor nicely, make it easy to tile the floor and get your slope into the door. Let this all set up and we'll come back and clean it up after it's, firmed up, but still is easy to sponge off all the extra mortar on top. Last piece going in. Good. Oh yeah, we're in. Time for grout. Grout in tile installation means the stage when tiles have been set and the adhesive, thin-set mortar has fully dried, so the spaces between the tiles can be filled with grout. Grouting locks the tiles in place and gives the surface its finished look. Excess epoxy grout is removed immediately with a damp sponge. No need to go back later to remove haze. He made this concrete sink. They're going to move that up, put it in place, installed the toilet, caulked the seams of the shower and the baseboard, and installed the sink and shower hardware. Hardwood flooring. Hardwood flooring is a type of flooring made from solid natural wood or engineered wood planks. It is popular because it is durable, long-lasting, and gives homes a warm, elegant look. The hallway, Finally, the window is ready. We've got something kind of exciting happening. Got the guys here ready to install the big 5x8 window in there. This is kind of the last big structural piece. Then after that, it's just trim and all to get the studio finished. The window install also marked a bigger milestone for me finishing up. He got to do some exploratory demo now and just see how extensive that rotting is. He's glad he opened that up because it is totally rotted. I mean, you put your W right through it, and it's also just soaked. All that moisture that was getting in there, I think I need to open it up and definitely let it dry out too. So once I got this up, I discovered there was a bigger problem than just rotted subfloor. The joists that support the floor running this way are actually resting right on the steel lintel for the front door. The plan is to chop these joists off so they stop short of the steel beam. Then run a ledger, a 2x2, they're going to bolt it to the brick and then run it to the steel beam. Then they'll use some hangers to tie the joists to the board that's running across the front. And that way it'll be a solid structure, but there'll be some separation between the joists and the metal for the door.
Finally, we can replace the fungi-filled section of flooring.
So this is kind of funny. Whoever installed the old wood floor, they knew you had to leave a 3/4 inch gap between the wood floor and the walls to allow for expansion and contraction. So come look at this. They used a piece of the 3/4 inch flooring as a spacer. They never removed it. It's stuck in there. And so now any expansion at all, and it just started popping. It definitely popped a lot here. Spots where there are huge humps in the floor. We're going to rip out all the floorboards that are not level and replace it with some plywood that's 3/4 inch. That's the same height as the existing floorboards. So it'll be a combination between the hardwood floors and the plywood that act as the subfloor. Just discovered there's some old tile underneath the hardwood floor. This is like a parfait of flooring, just shipping away. He thinks the parts where they've cut it away, they're just going to remove that old tile, then have to get some thin Luan plywood so that we can shim the 3/4 inch plywood up to be level with the wood floor that they're leaving behind. He got help, and they're about to start laying down the underlayment in the living room, which is super exciting to start seeing some finishes going here.
Underlayment installation, second half of the room. It is time for the big reveal. He wanted to show off some of the murals like the one that's behind him right now. He was lucky enough to have some amazing artists come in and bless him with some amazing art in the workshop. And now let's see the before and after. Next up, they're starting on the kitchen. They're actually going to stay in the workshop where he used that crazy CNC you might have caught a glimpse of to build his kitchen cabinets. Pass 01. Cut dado slots and tenons that allow easy assembly. 1/4 compression bit. Pass 02. Drill 5mm holes for drawer slides and shelf pins. 5mm drill bit. Pass 03. Cut the cabinet parts out of the sheet. 3/8 compression bit. All 170 had to be labeled to keep track of which parts went to which of the 21 cabinets. Edge banding to match doors. Drawer assembly. Cabinet carcass assembly. Now it's time to add some legs and paint the drawers behind the cabinets. Installing the double oven. Okay, there we go. So next up, it just keeps getting better, at least for him. He got to do one of his favorite things, play with concrete, make those beautiful concrete countertops and the butcher block countertop section. It's time to install concrete countertops and the butcher block countertop into their right positions. Time to add the fridge. Now, time to finish the drawers. And then he has to repeat the same process for 24 drawer fronts. He had the door made to my specs by Rehow. The kitchen backsplash. So they decided that they're going to reuse this tile from the bathroom, which is a large format 12 by 24 tile.
cutting notches for electrical outlets. Aluminum trim pieces are cut to frame and protect the edges of the shower niche or wall niche. These trims give the niche a clean, modern look and protect tile edges from damage. They're getting really close to the finish line, but there was one more really cool feature: to build the butcher block countertop. The butcher block is made from hard maple. It's going to sit at the end of the next to the cooktop. So he added wood honey to make it shine. Red guard turns from pink to red as it dries. Shower niche. Red guard waterproofing and crack prevention membrane is a liquid waterproofing coating commonly used in bathrooms before installing tile. Its main job is to stop water from getting into walls or floors. Now it's time to install tiles in the bathroom. Time for the floor. the wood slat feature wall with the tiling done. He headed down to the workshop and started ripping down wood slats for a wood slat feature wall, which is going to surround the freestanding tub. Black wall contrasts wood slats. It's finally time to start putting slats on the wall. The process should be pretty straightforward. They're just going to attach it with wood glue and nails. He is going to use floor tile to make a backsplash for the floating shelf. Time to install LED strips. He used LED channels with black semi-transparent diffusers so the LED strips are better hidden from sight. He also added magnets to the wood slats to access the LEDs. Custom vanity and linen closet. There, the plan is here we got in-wall faucets coming out. They're going to have a counter and sink running along this wall. The vanity is going to be laid right here, and then over here they've got this nook. He is going to build a linen closet here. Concrete ramp sink. The live edge mirror.
They started by working on a mirror frame.
Mixing a high-performing epoxy, now it's time to attach the live edge mirror frame to the wall. It was a little bit tricky. First, he screwed an aluminum angle iron to the tile. He's also notched or rabbeted the bottom of the slab so that it could rest on the aluminum angle iron. He could then screw through the angle iron to the bottom of the slab to hold it in place. The notch also created a space where he could hide LED strips to give a cool backlit effect around the mirror. With the bottom half of the mirror frame attached to the tile, it was just a matter of waiting for the glass guys to show up with the shower glass and the mirror. Now it's a little bit nerve-wracking because it is a very, very narrow space. They got 9 feet of glass they got to get through the door on its side, and it weighs 300 pounds. Next up, it was time to put the finishes in the last bathroom in the place, which is a smaller half bath or powder room in the hallway. Bathroom is totally a blank slate. First step for that is going to be laying down the foam underling. Got it all cleared out and ready to go. By the end of the day, it's going to be beautiful. Take advantage of the fact this is a powder room, so you don't need it to be as waterproof as a full bath where you have a tub and shower. They're just going to go with the hardwood flooring. Same hardwood flooring they used for the hallway. He had a bunch left over, so it's an efficient use of materials. Save a little money, all those good things.
Got last piece going in. This has a slot right here, and you can see its slots. It's a perfect fit, like just perfectly fits. We're gonna try to keep this quick and easy, but still really cool. They're gonna do some Shishigi bond shelves right there. That's what you want. It's almost like you'd see through the wood. Dowels will be inserted into the studs to attach the shelves to the wall. 4 minutes epoxy. They added tape to ensure the shelves stayed level while the epoxy cured. He's gonna just bring the toilet, put the toilet in, put the vanity in so he can say, yeah, it's done, and he think that'll count. Let's do that. He turned my attention to building a yard on top of my roof. Big picture, the entire structure is going to be built on top of a pedestal system that raises it off the roof and allows for drainage. The deck portions will be supported by 2x6 joists that have composite deck boards on top, and the yard will be built on top of a 2x4 plus plywood platform, which will support drainage tiles underneath an artificial grass surface. But there was a huge challenge before we could even get to building. He just got all the materials for the deck delivered. We got to haul all these 16-foot boards onto the roof. So the idea was going to pull his truck in front here and then use that as a platform to hoist him all the way up onto the roof, which is top of the second story.
All right, guys, the joists are all done, he said. So next step is block it. Oh, extra blocking added at edges to support picture frame border. It is a lovely morning, and it is time to finally put the outer edge on the deck. They got the drone in the air for some beautiful shots, and they just enjoyed the moment of the picture frame being closed in. Oh, 3/8 holes were going drilled in marine plywood for drainage. Installing air grid underlayment. And guys, it is time to roll out the grass.
Right? He's so happy how this has turned out. I have a freaking yard. A freaking yard at the middle of downtown Chicago. They built this huge yard on his rooftop, and he did it all for Tex. But there's a big problem. The whole country is in the middle of a heat wave, and he needs a place to cool off. So we're going to build him an insane doghouse, complete with its own dog pool. This thing is going to be nicer than his house. He built the doghouse structure the exact same way he would a human's house, framing with 2x4s, using exterior siding, even adding a full shingle roof to waterproof the whole thing. Then, he built up the pool deck using Tex decking that matches the deck the doghouse is going on, and then cut out an oval to drop in a stock tank that's going to function as the pool. Then he added a green feature wall. It's going to go behind the pool, and it has a neon LED sign for his dog Tex. Lastly, he added some cool LED lights all around the underside of the roof to really make the doghouse pop. And then he can show Tex his new home. All right, guys. He was just out running errands, and while he was out, the guys got here to start installing the fence on the roof. He's super excited to see this go in, so let's go check it out. Entryway makeover. Guys, we're in the entryway hallway. He said right now it looks terrible.
The first thing that greets guests when they show up to the building is this ugly, hideous mess here. Pretty much unchanged from when you bought the building in its abandoned state almost 5 years ago. And we'll start with some low-hanging fruit. They're going to paint the feature wall black so that the greenery they put on there later will pop. He made a floating faux rock shelf out of concrete. Now, for the doors, fully out behind me. So they're going to get the new one going in. Pretty excited to see what it's going to look like because that has been an eyesore. After a quick look lunch, the guys got to work installing the new door and windows, and after a little bit of work, they had a major scare. Fire, fire! They got something burning. They got a fire extinguisher too if they need, but those things are a huge mess. All right. Make sure it's not, because the main thing is that fire goes up, and that's right underneath the wood floor upstairs, so they managed to put it out in time and it didn't spread up, so thank goodness. Whew. Well, that was a pretty dramatic change from the old eggplant door. What do you guys think? He personally very happy. It's simple, it's clean, it's modular stroll. All right, they're going to turn our attention now to the stairs that are leading from the living room area up into the hallway. Somehow, during all the renovation, things were not done properly. They just threw in some 2x12s as treads. To make things worse, you can't really rip those 2x2s out without ripping out the drywall that was then installed over them. So you have a good solution, and he's just going to reuse some products you have around here. He's going to make risers out of 1/2-inch plywood, and they're going to paint those so they'll look pretty nice. And then he's going to use some of the leftover 3/4-inch maple flooring we use in the rest of the place to create the stair treads, and that's going to look pretty sharp. At any rate, super happy how these stairs came out. It was one of those things you've just been putting it off forever, not wanting to deal with it. As I'm sure you guys probably have a lot of projects in your home, so you get that feeling. Now they got one more surprise for you guys down in the garage. You know, they're not really counting the garage and workshop as part of the renovation because it was way easier to do the permitting when they kept it to just the residential space. But anyway, let's head down. I'll show you guys what they got down there. So they're taking a break from the upstairs to move to the garage. And one person commented that they'll know the renovation is really done when I finally fix the garage ceiling. And well, they're not doing that quite yet, but they do have one big problem about to be solved. All the bugs and the mice that he'd been experiencing. Yeah, that's right. I haven't really been posting about it, but they've been catching a bunch of mice and the bug zapper is working overtime. So we're getting a motorized screen put in the garage entrance so we can work with the garage open and not have all of nature coming inside. And I gotta give a shout out to the fans of this channel because this screen is actually being provided by some fans of the channel who happen to own the company that makes this. They've been following the building renovation. They reached out and asked if he needed a screen, and I said yes, he absolutely do. So this is super fun. Everyone say thank you to them because this is pretty cool that they're getting this installed today. Look at that. The main stairs. He'd been putting off the stair project to the very end. We got to do a quick demo sequence. Only thing really to know with stair demo is you probably want to start at the top and work your way down. Otherwise, after you remove a few stairs, you're going to have some access problems demoing the rest. So, with that note, let's get this thing ripped out. You okay? Hit your shin. There we go. All right, and I think we're pretty much good.
Yeah.
Demoing, you see a lot of change happening really fast. Then little details start happening a little more slowly, but yeah, always feels good. Installing the stringers. Got the stair treads delivered. They are pre-made, but they are unfinished. Got my trusty Rockler sprayer here. So they're just gonna spray on like probably 5 coats of some finish, save ourselves $500 or $600 by doing it ourselves. Routing a channel for LED lighting. Now for the risers. Motion sensor for LEDs. Motion sensors at top and bottom of stairs. Now is the fun part. They can start cutting the risers and the stair treads and putting them in. They're just going to go like 4 or 5 at a time and work our way up the stairs. Connecting LEDs to controller. Finally, the entryway flooring. Hey, now everywhere you turn on YouTube, it seems like people are talking about vinyl plank flooring. So they're going to be installing vinyl plank flooring directly over the disgusting old ceramic tile in my entry hallway. See if it lives up to the hype. And during this install, he's going to show you the process scribing the vinyl plank to fit perfectly against a very odd-shaped brick wall. This could be used to go against any odd-shaped surface, so that's going to be really cool. Let's dive into floor it. Now for the trick where we fit these rows to the brick wall and slide it against it. First, they positioned those 3 rows exactly where they want the 3 full rows to go in the hallway. Then they can scribe the row closest to the brick wall. Essentially, when they slide it over, that 3rd row is going to become the partial row that's against the brick wall, and the 2nd and 3rd rows will be slid into the position where the 1st and 2nd were originally. So now here's the trick. So they know they have a full piece of flooring and a partial piece of flooring. I've cut a thin sliver from a full piece, so I know this is one full piece, which means for this to be the partial piece that goes here, they need to take off this much all the way around. This little piece also has the quin tab left on it, which that will give them extra spacing, which you need for expansion. So they're going to take this piece and they're literally just going to kind of go down every inch, everywhere he sees something changes dimensions, and just put a mark. Just drop dots, come out, connect the dots, then they'll pop these boards out, they'll take a jigsaw, cut them along that line, pop them back in, and then he'll slide this whole structure against the wall, and hopefully that'll be a perfect fit. And seeing if all that work resulted in a proper fit against the brick wall. stairs leading to the roof. Oh, that was some satisfying snapping in there, huh? Next up, got some bonus content, something that hasn't been in any other video yet, and it's one of the last things they got to do to finish this place off, and it's redoing these disgusting stairs here. So whoever done this before, they literally just put in 2 sheets of plywood to fake stair treads. It looks like they stained them, but they didn't finish them, so they are just beat to hell, completely falling apart. They got to do something about it. So before they install those treads, they got to deal with these sort of odd-shaped landing pieces here. I think what we're going to do is just use a plywood base and then some of the leftover flooring I've got from the rest of the building to do these landing strips. Then they're going to install the rest of the stair treads. He's a little sore from twisting around to get all into the stairs and screw them in, but it's a big improvement. It's not perfect, but the pine treads, they were very inexpensive, like 12 bucks a tread. This is a huge improvement and very much livable for something that just takes you up to the roof for now. So yeah, I think they're going to call this done. They're happy with it, and as he changes his mind, want to upgrade things, redo the bathrooms again, that sort of thing. Because he'll get bored, he needs a project.
It's time for the final reveal. If you've made it this far, thank you.
Now it's time for the final before and after shots.